from University of Queensland, Australia, who will share their research experience in abroad and technical aspects on medical imaging, natural language processing, and deep learning. Dr. Vijay Kumar from Anurag University will speak on research methodologies. Forthcoming days, we have experts from industry as well. In the area of security, intelligence, and defense, 3 lectures are planned. Dr. Sateesh from IT Roorkee, Ms. Chakrabarti from FBI USA, and Dr. Pandey from DRDO India. For healthcare and big data, we have lecture from Mr. Ashok from Biomarine Pharma, London, UK, then Cognitive Robotics and Cognitive Science Research by Dr. Swapna, TCS Innovation, and Dr. Sinha from Myanmar. 2 sessions on retrieval systems and use of map-reduce paradigm by Dr. Fatima, Anurag University, and Dr. Raju, NIT Warangal. Introduction to Evolutionary Computing by Dr. Janis Best, Slovenia. UAV Semantic Models by Dr. Sabrina Senator, Italy. And Cloud Computing by Dr. Vanka, University of Hyderabad. Dr. Prathama, NTU Singapore, will speak on deep learning in data streams. Last 2 days, we had 3 exclusive sessions on first, intellectual patent rights by Dr. Shankar, DRDO, second, role of International Membership Forum for Career Benefits by Executive Council members of ACM and IEEE, Dr. Naresh, Chair ACM Hyderabad Deccan Chapter from NRC ISRO, and Dr. Negi from IEEE Hyderabad Section, University of Hyderabad. And third, paradigm shift in teaching, learning, and evaluation by Dr. Salman from University of Hyderabad. Prominent speakers from across the world has resulted in an overwhelming outreach in participation. We have 760 registered participants from 22 states of India and from 8 countries. I wish the participants a good learning experience from this international conclave. Thank you, one and all. Namaste.
Thank you, ma'am, for briefing the conclave. Now I request Dr. J. Vishnumurthy Garu, Dean, School of Engineering, to address again.
Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. A very good morning to all. Our Excellencies, distinguished dignitaries, guests, colleagues, participants from all over the world, volunteers, press and media. My heartiest greetings and welcome to all to this wonderful campus, Anurag University, to this international conclave on recent advancements in computer science, ICRACS 2020. We strived hard to give a good, meaningful, purposeful learning from this conference by identifying the best resource persons across the world. Just now the madam has briefed, we have 20 sessions spanned 5 days, across 5 days. The resource persons drawn from the 9 countries from the premier institutions. Just to begin with, about Anurag University, the journey started in the year 2002 as CVSR College of Engineering, and we have become the integrated campus in the name and style of Anurag Group of Institutions in the year 2010 and emerged as an Anurag University in the year 2020, which is spread in a 55 acres of beautifully landscaped lush green campus with 1 million square feet instructional and amenity space, running 3 schools: School of Engineering, School of Pharmacy, School of Management. The institution, all the programs run by under these schools were accredited by National Board of Accreditation. The institution is accredited by NAC with A grade. The institution is accredited by the Tata Consultancy Services. The institution is also put in the band of 151 to 200 All India overall category of NIRF, ranked 180 in engineering, 76 to 100 band in pharma. The institution also received the first rank by Times of India in research. Overall, it's ranked in 4th position. The institution is providing consistent from last 4 years, 98% of placements, and AU provides a true national experience to all the stakeholders. If you look at the year 2019-20 alone, the 89 eminent speakers from all over the world visited the campus. We have executed 7 international events, to name the few prominent: ICTIEE, that is International Conference on Transformations in Engineering Educations, which is inaugurated from the hands of the youth icon of present day politics, the Minister of IT, K.T. Ramarao Garu. The event is also blessed by the Educational Minister, Srimati Savita Indra Reddy, along with other eminent personalities from the industry like BVR Mohan Reddy and others. We could have representations during this conference from the leaders of ABET, Michael Milligan, from the IFES, International Federation of Engineering Education Societies, John Hoyer, and similar many others. We could also execute the International Conference on Advances in Computational Intelligence and Informatics. The inaugural was blessed with the international speakers from the Italy and US. We also executed IEEE Blockchain Summit, IASF, etc. So these all events have given a true international standard experience to the stakeholders at the campus. To say a few words about the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, having committed faculty, state-of-the-art laboratories, diversified professional chapters and the technical clubs, a strong industry immersion, research wings, a global certification framework which run beyond the normal curriculum, consistent academic performance, 100% placements made the department the most sought and able to attract the creamy layer of the students from the state of Telangana. First of all, I would like to congratulate the entire crew behind making this program to happen, to get onto the stage, that is the Department of CAC especially. I extend my heartfelt thanks to the visionary chief patents, and various committee chairs of this particular program. I am grateful to the resource persons who have accepted to be part of this to enrich the knowledge of the participants. To go further, even after having the 74 years of independence, even after looking at the statistics that the India is standing at 5th position in the scholarly output, especially when we look at the research output. The other side, the most of the common problems remain as it is, like poverty, healthcare, education, basic hygiene, pollution, women's safety, infrastructure, biodiversity, forest, desertification, peace, justice, etc., etc. It's very anomaly. One side we are saying we had a lot of advancement. The other side, the most common problems were not addressed at all. This is not only the case with India. When you look at the call that has given by the UN for its constituent members in the year 2015 to identify a common goals for making the world a better place, to give the better life to common man. They have identified 17 global sustainable development goals, which are almost mapping with the problems what I have just read out. So what are all the real challenges why we could not able to attach these advancements to this solving these common problems? So the challenges, we are highly missing the social relevance, we are missing the competitive strength, and we are not making the research and education go hand in hand. So what are the steps need to be taken? This kind of platforms need to be used to talk more about the gaps. And here I am with a few steps that may merge the gap, that is providing high quality education, conducting the basic research, carrying out applied research, supporting them to create invention, innovation, intellectual property rights, influencing the research direction, converting that innovations into the products, and enhancing the industry institute interaction and establishing the technology business incubators. To conclude further, I request on behalf of this platform, from this platform, we all must reaffirm to put our heart and mind to create a culture of research and nurture this culture and encourage the research with competitive strength and bring the relevance to this research to the societal problems. And I wish this conference will have some directional change towards that, and I strongly wish this conclave will definitely will help you to uh, have some remarkable memories which will enrich your learning for dealing with the future generation students. With this, I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. I wish all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for briefing the challenges and importance of research. Now I request Dr. V. Vijay Kumar, sir, Dean R&D, Untitled University, to address the participants.
Good morning to all participants, also dignitaries and also dignitaries who are on the virtual mode. And good afternoon to some of the participants because it is an international conclave. Just now, Madam has said that 114 from 10 countries participants are there. Maybe for them it's a good afternoon, maybe for them it's a good evening. But anyway, however, I say good morning to all of you. And one thing here I wanted to say, by looking at this topic, recent advances in computer science, really one of the needed topics because if you look at the computer science from the last 5 to 6 years, there are many advances that has come into computer science and many subjects, many new subjects, many innovations have penetrated into computer science. One of them is the greatest thing is artificial intelligence. We have talked that about maybe 2 years or maybe 3 years back, and again artificial intelligence is this data and availability of the lot of images and videos and other things. And also machine learning has come into this, and also now deep learning, and also we are going to see Internet of Science, blockchain, and also you have got IoT, and also you have got the other things like information retrieval, cloud computing. So there are so many subjects, so many research areas, so much of research potential, new subjects that come into computer science, and we as a teachers are also feeling sometimes how to incorporate all of them into our curriculum because so that students can understand the fundamentals of this so that whenever they go for industry at least they will have an exposure of these things so that they will be industry ready. And sometimes, and in this regard, the Department of Computer Science have taken the advantage of this pandemic situation from I think so April to till today. I think so we have shared somewhere about 22 knowledge sharing sessions in different modes. Some of them are maybe FDP, some of them may be guest lectures, some of them may be like these conclave. So I really proud and to be in this department, and I would like to congratulate all the staff members of this department. They have taken a lot of efforts to organize not only this conclave. During these 3 to 5 months, they have organized several conferences or maybe several FDPs, and 2 or 3 of them may be in association with the AICTE and other things. So now I would like to say to the all participants that it's this conclave really you are going to enjoy this. Why? Because we are going to focus more on the recent trends, and also it gives you a lot of exposure on the fundamental research and also fundamental theoretical research and also fundamental application oriented research. So I request all the participants to make use of these recent trends. That's why we are not focused on only one thing like machine learning or maybe deep learning or AI, because there are so many advances that have come into computer science. So I hope all of you are going to be benefited by this, and you try to exchange your thoughts and also your questions and whatever it may be with the resource persons, because resource persons are the great, they are the good, scholars in their own this thing. So try to try to listen these things carefully, and I hope all of you are going to get benefited by this. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your views. Now I request Dr. Palla Rajeshwari, Global Chairman, address the participants.
Good morning, all of you.
Good morning, sir.
Firstly, thank you very much for involving me in the 4-day international conclave on recent advances in computer science. I would like to say 3 points. First thing, the Anurag University, which is transformed from Anurag group of institutions, believes in the 3 factors. First thing, the creating a best infrastructure for learning. Second, the faculty should be equipped with the latest subjects, latest knowledge in their own field. Third one, creating an ambience, academic ambience for the students and the research scholars for doing their best at the institution. With these 3 uh, basic things, actually we are running this university. Recently, we have transformed 2 decades experience Anurag group of institution into Anurag University, a private university in Telangana, southern part of India. The second thing, the Department of Computer Science is started in 2002 in this institution, and they are doing wonderful things in the department. The the Dean of Engineering, Mr. Vishnumurthy, already explained the what they are doing actually. The students are doing exemplary activities, particularly related to the placements, 100% placements they are getting. And wherever they participate in the activities like hackathons, organizing hackathons or participating hackathons, they are excelled in that activity. Third thing, organizing so many student clubs in the computer science department to understand what's going on in the industry, and also actually trying to making awareness among all the student community, which is actually current subject for their uh, student clubs. And the students, teachers also doing excellent job by publishing in a referred journals. That is the one of the quality measure of the teacher. In addition to teaching, a publication in a good journal really gives him a advantage. And most of the faculty, part of their research, pursuing their PhD, and also after PhD also they are also doing excellent job in the research area. So overall, the Department of Computer Science in Anurag University is doing excellent job. And fortunately, some more people have also joined the department. Actually, Professor Ramchandran, Vice Chancellor of Anurag University, is a computer science engineer. And Samin Fatima ma'am, she is a registrar of Anurag University. Both of them are the computer science and specialized in AI also. So definitely their addition into the department really enriches the department for the teaching, and also the students will be benefited a lot. And I request this conclave should address what are the grand challenges of the globe. Maybe 8 or 9 actually identified at global level in the different conclaves. Maybe access to clean water, protecting from nuclear war, uh, environment, engineering better medicines, are also advancing health informatics, solar energy, economical, that also to be addressed, and other securing cyberspace and reverse engineering the brain. So what are the grand challenges? What are the solutions for these grand challenges? That is the major issue before the globe. And those will be the research points. You may be using the advances in the computer science, I'm actually layman in the computer science actually, but the computer science people know that today the artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, IoT are the buzzwords in the computer field, maybe in the IT world or in the computer science learning area. So all the grand challenges will be addressed by using these platforms or these topics. So if they are aware, the industry has to take a lead, and industry should understand what will be the solution, and they should involve the academic institution in this process. The research will be done at the two stages, actually at two places. One is the academic institution, second, another one is the industry. Industry also makes it a confidential, and also they feel it is a uh, actually it is a competition among the different people. So whenever there is a requirement, they should involve the academic institutions in strengthening the research, and that should go to the faculty and also students. So they should, the young brains, they should give more answers also to this. So my feeling is, so first we need to identify the solutions for the grand challenges, grand engineering challenges, and these should be understood. The solution should be understood in the latest topics, whatever the buzzwords, all these things, the those things, and that should be done at the both the places, at the industry and also institution. So industry institution interaction should be strengthened, so that the actual research, the required research, the societal needs will be addressed more effectively. So definitely I think and hope that this conclave for 4 days will definitely deliberate, discuss, interact, and finally come out with a good solution. So to address the grand challenges of the globe. I appreciate and also congratulate the organizers for involving so many people across the globe, around 8 countries, and also many universities, many institutions, and many professors are also participating in this conclave. I thank on behalf of the management of Anurag University all the participants for giving their knowledge, sharing their knowledge, and interacting in a positive way. And also, I wish this conclave should be a great success in terms of getting some solutions to the grand engineering challenges by using the advances in the computer science. So I thank organizers for giving me chance to speak for a few moments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing all the participants. The Department of CSE definitely strive hard to reach your expectations. Thank you once again, sir, for joining with us. Now I request guest of honor, Professor S. Ramachandran, Vice Chancellor, Anurag University, to address the participants.
Respected Chancellor, Professor Sateesh, Untitled University, beloved Chairman Dr. Reddy, who is here, participants, host. Good morning to all of you. First of all, I'm very happy to know that participants are from different countries. Participants from as many as 7 countries. Also, I'm very happy. Our organizers roving experts from as many as 9 countries. Congratulations to the organizers. I am in this field for past 40 years. I have seen a computer which is occupying as big as this room, or maybe half of this room, to where carrying a computer in a pocket. So this is the kind of change that I have seen. There is always interest when you say that we are discussing recent topics. There is always scope for recent advancements in this area. So we have seen various developments from microprocessor technology, internet happening, World Wide Web happening, search engines have come, and then we see now cloud computing where you can hire computing resources on demand, and mobile computing services to on individual basis to individuals. And then of course I've seen lots of changes happening in the programming language. In fact, we have started working on Kotlin, COBOL in the past, plus Java. Then we see now modern languages like Python. So, very, very high level abstractions. Tremendous change. It's very, very fascinating, I would say. And we have seen tremendous growth in process technology and associated programming paradigms that help organize out of process. Now we see a tremendous change in terms of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and big data, where the humans learn and gain experience and take wonderful. It's very, very fascinating, I would say, and it's very important all of us keep abreast of all these developments. We are teachers then even more because we have to take this technology to our students. Um, I'm sure the deliberations that are going to take place during the next 5 years will be very, very fruitful exercise. I only wish all the best to all the participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your views and thoughts with all the participants. Now I request today's chief guest, Dr. Ruby Desai Garu, Chancellor of Anurag University, to address the participants.
Good morning, everyone. Dr. Palla Rajeshwar Reddy, Chairman Anurag Group, Professor Ramchandran, Vice Chancellor Anurag University, Dr. Vijay Kumar, Dean R&D, Dr. Vishnu Murthy, Dean School of Engineering, and Professor Goswami from the Computer Science and Engineering Department at Anurag University, the faculty colleagues, and all the participants to this 2020 International Conclave on Recent Advances in Computer Science. I am extremely enthused by the fact that Anurag, the organizers, the professors and the deans have taken this initiative to organize this particular conference. I think it is very important to have such conferences at academic institutions, and in particular Anurag University, which is a new university, because it is these conferences which sets an ecosystem for research and development. Okay. Also, it enhances teaching because we are doing a lot of high-level teaching in our computer science department at Anurag University. But when you have a conference of this particular nature, you have people from across the country and across the globe. As was mentioned, by Dr. Rajeshwar Reddy, that there are nearly 8 countries or more who are participating besides India in this particular conference. So it gives a new perspective which can be incorporated into our curriculum and into our learning experience for the students at Anurag University. In that sense, I think this is a very important initiative, and I congratulate right at the very outset all the organizing committee members who have put in the effort for this 4-day conclave. Computer science is one of the most important areas in today's time. And in fact, if you look at it during the pandemic, it is the developments in computer science which has kept us connected. Okay. We are today able to hold this conference because of the developments that have taken place in computer science. We meet each other over the internet, through video conferencing, through audio conferencing, again, developments in computer science. So this is an area which is perhaps the youngest in some sense among many engineering disciplines, even among science disciplines. But it has gained a lot of prominence because it is able to bring people much closer together and people to connect with them. And I think that is one of the greatest contributions that computer science has done. Also, it is one of the most dynamic areas. If you look at over the last 20 years, the number of new things that are happening, number of changes that are coming in, number of ideas that are being advocated in science and engineering, okay, computer science has played a very, very dominant role, perhaps a leading role. Okay, I may be a biased person in saying that, making that particular statement, but it has played. You look at today, the buzzwords, not just in engineering, but even across other disciplines, are things like AI, data science, IoT, blockchain, then many other things which are cloud computing, okay, natural language processing, and all these are basically subjects which are fundamentally in computer science, and of course other disciplines in electrical engineering and mechanical engineering when it comes to robotics and other do contribute. But CS has become the core discipline. In that sense, this is a very, very important conference, and I'm hoping that really some of the advanced issues that are there in computer science will be deliberated and will be debated over the next 4 days. And I think the participants who have gathered out here will benefit immensely from the galaxy of speakers that we have out here. Okay. Uh, Another advantage of such conferences is that these are occasions when academicians and industries come together. You will have researchers from industries, you will have researchers from academics, sharing in a sense the same platform. Yeah, due to the pandemic, the sharing is of course in a virtual medium. We cannot quite share it in a physical medium. That would be the ideal thing. And an exchange of ideas can take place between industry and academia and industry. I think this is very, very critical, particularly in India, to create a strong interaction between academia and industry. We do have good interaction, but I think we still have a long way to go when there is a great interaction and exchange of ideas between industry and academia. And such conferences, such conclaves are vital platforms for creating that kind of an ambience. Also for youngsters, the young students who are there in the country, okay, they benefit a lot from this. Normally they're used to the standard curriculum that we have, and there is a syllabus, we follow that syllabus. But when they attend such conferences, such conclaves out here, they benefit a lot more by learning about the newer development that are taking place, the newer ideas that are being deliberated. Okay, finally, I also concur with the chairman that it will be great at the end of the 4 days, maybe a panel discussion can be held. I don't know, it may not be possible to change the program, but somewhere one could look at it, where I think this conference, this conclave will identify, say, 10 grand challenges. Okay, and these grand challenges could be CS based, and of course having interactions and having inputs from other disciplines, from engineering as well as from sciences. This would be my suggestion out here. Many other things were mentioned by the chairman, which you could certainly look into it. So with these few words, I again thank the organizers for giving me this particular opportunity and congratulate the organizers for conducting this particular conference. All the best and have a great deliberation over the next 4 days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for briefing the importance of emerging technologies in the field of computer science and sharing your view to all the participants. Now I request co-convener Dr. Sandeep Singh Rawat, professor in CSC, to propose vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Sridhar. Distinguished professors, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. Learning gives happiness, happiness leads to success. If you love to learn new things, you will be always successful. With this quote of today's morning, it's a moment of great privilege and honor for me to propose vote of thanks on behalf of Department of CSE and Roorkee University and myself here for this 5 days international conclave on recent advances in computer science, that is ICRACS, scheduled from 21st to 25th September 2020. These 5 day sessions are going to be handled by eminent professors and industry personnel across the world. First, we would like to thank all the eminent speakers who have accepted our request to be part of this international conclave to share their knowledge to all the participants. We are thankful to today's chief guest, Dr. U.B. Desai, Chancellor, Anurag University, for his encouraging words and all the suggestions, sir. Definitely, we are going to take all your suggestions, and we are going to plan more sessions like that in future. We are very much thankful to Dr. P. Rajeswar Reddy Garu, MLC and Chairman Anurag Group and Chairman TRRSS. Despite of his busy schedule, sir is able to attend this inaugural function and address the participants. Thank you very much, sir. Your presence made us so excited. We thank Professor S. Ramchandran, Vice Chancellor, Anurag University, and Professor Saida Samir Fatima,
Leicester and Rock University for their tremendous support to mankind, without which we were not able to do this. We are also very grateful to Dr. K. S. Rao, Director, Anurag University, and Dr. V. Vijay Kumar, Dean and Development, Anurag University, for their timely guidance. We thank Dr. G. Vishnumurthy, Convener ICRACS 2020, Dean of Engineering, for his constant support and suggestion in conducting this event. No program is successful without proper coverage by the media. We are thankful to all the local media for wide coverage of this conference. We thank all organizing committee chairs, Dr. M. Sridevi, Dr. Mallikarjun Reddy, Oblesh, Dr. Shilata, Dr. Professor Shiv Prasad, and their team members for conducting this international conclave without dropping their energy at any point of time. Finally, we thank all the participants who have shown keen interest in attending this session. Without their involvement, nothing can transform into success. And I believe definitely this conclave is going to set up a new benchmark in the process of your teaching and research development. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Happy learning.
Thank you, sir. To capture the memories of inaugural ceremony, I request all the participants to switch on your videos for a group photo. I request all the chairs also to join. Thank you all the participants and the
Thank you.
dignitaries
Sure.
in the inaugural. Now we'll have a break and the session will be resumed back at 11:50. Thank you. And we will be available in the chat window. If your participants having any doubts, we can be available in the chat window. Thank you.
ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಸೇಮು ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಏನು ಮೇಡಮ್ ಇರಲಿ ತೊಂದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಹ್ಞೂ ಇಲ್ಲ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ನೋಡಿ ಸೇಮು ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಫ್ಲೋರಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಭಾರ್ಗವಿ ಹ್ಞೂ
Another group of institutions was established in 2002. We believed in three factors for any education institutions to grow. The first thing, another group of institutions was established in 2002. We believed in three factors for any education institutions to grow. The first thing, having best infrastructure, faculty, and creating an academic environment. Coming to infrastructure, we have taken care in providing best classrooms, laboratories, library, equipment, everything. So we should have the state-of-the-art facilities. We have taken care, we have provided.
Another group of institutions in its 17 years of journey has received many awards and recognitions from national bodies. We were accredited by National Accreditation and Assessment Council of India with A grade, and all the UG programs in engineering and pharmacy were accredited by National Board of Accreditation. In the recent NIRF rankings, we were ranked at 169 across India. Our students not only got excelled in academics but also placed in reputed MNCs across India.
For any education institution, the teaching and non-teaching faculty is the backbone of that institution. So we have attracted best faculty, we have retained them, we trained them. Now the Anurag faculty is best at OBE methods, teaching learning methods, and they have been publishing their publications in peer journals.
ಯಾರು ಇಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಮಾಡ್ಯೂಲ್ 2 ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ನಿಮ್ದು ಹಾ ಅದೇ ಕಷ್ಟನೇ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಸೋದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಪಾಯಿಂಟರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಾಂ ಹ್ಞೂ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಯಾವ್ದಾ ಸ್ಪಾರ್ಸ್ ಮೆಟ್ರಿಕ್ಸು ಯಾಕೆ ಹೌದು
We have come from 190 students in 2002.
ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಅದು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಲ್ಲ
6,500 students, 700 plus teaching and non-teaching faculty, and best academic environment. We are heading towards Anurag University in the coming academic year. We welcome you all to this small but vibrant and dynamic institution, Anurag.
ಯಾಕೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಇದಾರಲ್ಲ ಯಾರಾದ್ರು ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಇದು ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿತ್ತು ಅಷ್ಟು ಮಾತ್ರ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು
Bernard joined.
Sir, good morning, sir. Sir, Dr. Sateesh, sir, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. Sir, good morning. Good morning, sir. Just trying to pull my PPT.
Sir, you want to check presentation, sir?
I'm doing that. I'm doing that. Give me just a minute.
Okay. Good morning, all. Myself, Dr. A. Mallikarjun Reddy, Associate Professor, Untitled University, Telangana. I welcome you all for the first session of this conclave. It is my privilege to introduce the first speaker, Dr. P. Sateesh Kumar, Associate Professor, IIT, Roorkee, India. And he is going to talk on emerging technology security aspects. Dr. P. Sateesh Kumar, Associate Professor at the Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee. His research interests include cloud computing and security. He is the senior member of ACM and IEEE and recipient of the Cloud Ambassador Award from AWS Educate, IBM SUR Award, Microsoft Educate Award, University Merit Scholarship, Best Teacher Award, Best Paper Award, and travel grants. He has publication in reputed journals like IEEE TIFS, Axis, Potentials, MTAB, WPC, IJIS, and PPNA, and conferences like ACM Mobicom, IEEE Trustcom, IEEE MAS, ACM, IEEE ICDCN, and ISC. He is the co-author of the book Security and Storage Issues in the Cloud Environment and co-editor of the book Cloud Systems and Applications in Healthcare. He is also serving as a reviewer for IEEE TCC, IEEE TSC, IEEE Axis, MTAB, ComNet, and JNCA. He is the program chair for IEEE MAS 2020 and founding steering committee chair for SLIE 2018. He is on board IEEE SLICE, IEEE DSEA, IEEE MAS, IEEE ATC, IEEE SmartCom, IEEE INIS, and IoT SMS. He received grants from NHMS, MIT, Railtel, MHRD, DST, IBM, Samsung, CSI, Microsoft. He is guiding many interns, bachelors, masters, and doctoral students. General instruction to the participants. I request all the participants mute audio and video. There will be a question answer session after completion of the speaker talk. Those who have doubts can raise their hand. Chat box will be disabled during the session and enabled after the talk. And I request the participants to fill the attendance form that will be shared in the chat box. Now I hand over the session to Dr. P. Sateesh Kumar, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And first of all, I would like to thank my professor, Ramchandran sir, for remembering me and inviting me to this talk, and Tilottama madam for taking the initiative and calling me for this talk, and behind me for making this talk possible. And yeah, all team, Anurag team, who like thought of me for taking this talk. And yeah, so I'm trying to deliver today. Okay, I'm trying to deliver today as quickly as possible. Like the most important emerging technologies, the cloud, the mobile, the IoT are like highly influential in today's mankind, like applications. And the goal of this talk is to highlight what sort of security challenges we might have in such like aspects. And at the same time, like I'll also discuss a couple of solutions for mobile security, not all, but only for mobile security. But I'll give like pointers to different solutions what we have developed from our lab, and you can read those research papers that helps you to take up or start your research. And because this is a like conclave, so the main purpose is to like motivate the participants towards the research, and at the same time giving some pointers to them so that like they can start working from that point. So that's how I try to like follow this talk proceedings. So I'm available in Facebook and LinkedIn easily, and of course email also you can write to me. I usually like respond little late in the emails. Okay. Okay, so anything someone wants to communicate to me? All right, some noise. Okay, so
తీసుకుంటున్నా మొత్తం అది మలేషియా బొమ్మ పెట్టిండు ఆ సింహం బొమ్మ వస్తే మలేషియా.
Can you mute yourself, please?
I request all the participants, please mute your audio.
Right. So the talk is focused on three important aspects: the mobile, the cloud aspects, IoT aspects, and mobile aspects of security. And I'll try to discuss virtual firewalls and IDS, IPS like architectures in your cloud implementations, and I will also discuss how the smart criminals are attacking on IoT systems, and what are the different security models that we have designed in our mobile security concerns. So let's first try to quickly understand what is cloud problem. So most of the customers are feeling difficult to adopt cloud computing technologies either for storage or processing just because of security reasons. And you see the majority, the graph shows that 75% approximately are concerned about the security aspects. And essentially, what is cloud? Cloud is made up of a couple of data centers, several data centers, and each data center is expected to have several of hosts, and in each host, you could have like multiple virtual machines. So each virtual machine is expected to like perform the task whatever you are assigned to it at this time. And this is like one data center we are talking about and one cloud we are talking about, and several like like hundreds of thousands of virtual machines. And such clouds are different, like private clouds and public clouds. Private to a particular organization or public to all, and like in terms of access to the resources, or the resources may be accessed through some broker also several times. So the point I'm trying to convince you is that from these slides, one way is that like the attackers may try to attack on the complete cloud, complete data center, or a host or multiple hosts, or a particular virtual machine. Like there are multiple chances of attack will increase, and one VM may attack on another VM, one host may attack on another host, one data center may attack on another data center, and one cloud may attack on another cloud. Okay, and when you are talking about multiple clouds, then you are also interacting with private cloud to public and public to private. And when there are such federations across the clouds, then also you will have a lot of new kind of challenges, because attacks may be like starting from any of these such locations. So what is the problem with the cloud security? So here we talk of the different like points, like highlight different points here, like who has the right to access your data? Are your backups encrypted? If so, where is the backup? Like the big question is which geographical location it is, which territory it is, which jurisdiction it is in which your data is actually stored, and how is the data transmitted and encrypted? Are the algorithms strong enough to like not to be like disclosed by the man in the middle or any kind of Eve? Like how are the users authenticated? What are the authentication algorithms you are using? How strong they are, right? As a service provider, the cloud service provider has been tested by any repeated third party. What is the trust you have on that cloud service provider? What is the chance that they are not breaching your personal data? Let's take the example of what is called Facebook. Like recently we have heard that Facebook sold most of the personal data of several of their customers to some third party. So like the big question is the service provider themselves, Facebook cloud service provider themselves are the like malicious in this case. So how much trust you have on this provider, and like what are the chances that they don't breach your personal data? Okay, how effectively your data segregated from the others? This is a very, very important point. Like let me again show the figure back to you. So here, like this is the same host and same set of resources are adapted by different virtual machines. So here, this virtual machine is taking the same memory. This virtual machine is also using the same memory. This virtual machine is also using the same memory. So what are the chances that like how these virtual machines data or processing or whatever you are talking about, their programs are actually segregated or not in the memory? I mean, anyhow, all of them are like virtually separated as machines, virtual machines. But what is the guarantee that all these virtual machines data is also segregated in the memory, right? That's another important concern. Is your data encrypted with a good algorithm? Who holds the keys? This is very important point. Like who holds the keys? Though the data is encrypted, but most of the times your administrators are having the keys. or the service providers are having the keys. Rarely you have the keys. So that's why they can most of the times cloud service providers, what they say is they encrypt the data. Okay. But unfortunately, the data is encrypted with their keys, with their algorithms, which they can open anytime. So any third party cannot access that data, but there is every chance that administrators and the service providers themselves may be the malicious ones. Okay. So where is your data located? Which country? Which jurisdiction? Which legislation? I mean, these are all challenges because, like, I have my data in, I'm a customer from India, but there is a cloud or data center storing my data in America, and suddenly the data is lost. So whom do you question it? Like, do you raise the complaint in India or do you raise the complaint in US? And who has to answer it? If you raise the complaint in India, then is the India having some policy to question the US data center people? Or is there any policy we have in India, like our legislation we have in India, which consults to the government of Uttarakhand, USA, and government of USA questions the service provider? I mean, these are all several new kind of challenges that arise due to cloud. So, I mean, cloud, that's why the customers are very much worried about cloud security and other concerns. Okay. So this is one side of the coin. The other side of the coin, how the attackers will try to attack on your system. What is the scope you have on attacking on the systems? That also we will try to understand now with several of examples here. So here, let us say there is a data center, and in the data center you have a host, and inside the host a lot of hardware are there, including your memory, your processor, your network, and several other components. Okay. And maybe with some local operating system or not, but there is a hypervisor over it, right? And this hypervisor actually virtualizes separate virtual machines. Okay. So here you have multiple virtual machines. If the attacker can attack on your hypervisor, then all your virtual machines are compromised. So a just single physical host, if someone can trick one single the physical host, then it is very easy to trick all the other virtual machines. So there must be some mechanism that should address these kind of problems. If you are having an operating system, then it's operating system may be having some what is called antivirus software or something like that. But in this specific case, we are not sure whether hypervisor is having a built-in security mechanism or not. So that's why security starts from design of your hypervisor itself, which actually virtually separates all your virtual machines. So this kind of attack, you call it as hyperjacking, and the most often seen attack in your cloud computing, where attackers target for attacking on hypervisor so that they can compromise all the machines. Okay. And some sort of solution can be to design some trusted platforms, and those TPMs, then they can be part of your your root of the system. Then they act like the what you call watchdog, security watchdog, which try to monitor, which try to sit in the hypervisor, and they try to monitor if there is any attack on your system. Okay. So this is one side of the coin, right? And we have designed a trusted platform to attest to such kind of remote accesses in any computing system. And you can find this paper to understand how the trusted platforms actually are designed at all. Yeah, and the second important way of dealing with your security of your cloud systems is to adopt the virtual firewalls. So you have the actual physical firewalls at the top of your computing system, or maybe at the periphery of your cloud computing environment. Okay, and maybe multiple firewalls are there. It's fine. Like there is no problem for us, right? So in these systems, some may be virtualized servers, some may be non-virtualized servers. So these virtualized servers use virtualization at the back. Hypervisors or virtualizers are as the layers, and these hypervisors allow you to create different virtual machines that run different applications with their own operating system, right? And in order to protect, suppose if this system has to, this virtual machine has to talk to this virtual machine, let us say, okay. If these two are communicating to each other, then the traffic is required to be routed from physical firewall to this virtual machine. Okay, and similar way, the traffic needs to be routed from this firewall to maybe this router, and then to another virtual machine in other host. Okay, so what I'm trying to convince you is that the virtual machines talk to each other, maybe in the same host, maybe in the different host, maybe in the different data center, maybe in the different cloud. Okay, so there is every need that that traffic required to be monitored efficiently. Okay, so one of the fix can be like, instead of routing the traffic every time to the main firewall, it is good to have a virtual firewall locally on your host, which can monitor the local traffic movement and all. Okay, so the traffic within the host, or across the host, or across the data centers, or across the clouds, or across the virtualized and non-virtualized servers, anything can be monitored if you have a virtualized firewalls installed on your host. So this is one of the interesting way of implementing your cloud systems security at the core level. Yeah, and apart from that, you can also develop IDS IPS systems, which are that firewalls are constrained to have only what is called they check only source IP address, they are rule based. So if some rules are passed by any traffic, they allow it. Okay, but there is every possibility that some traffic may be passing certain rules, but need not be following. There is no guarantee that they are not harmful. So you need to inspect these packets in depth, and you need IDS IPS to do that. Okay, and in order to install the IDS IPS, we designed in one of our research, we tried to analyze in one of our research, what is a good way of dealing with IDS IPS systems, and we analyzed it in which way of IDS IPS will take more time, will add more complexity and all that. So these are the 4 diagrams which indicate you how this can be done. As I mentioned, you can leave all the virtual machines without any security algorithms implemented. Just install a security watchdog like TPM or some security algorithm at your hypervisor level, and your hypervisor occasionally or periodically checks the behavior of these virtual machines. Maybe the hypervisor collects the logs of all these virtual machine functionalities, and it analyzes that log to figure out what is the is there any attack on your system, or else you can install IDS IPS at your switch, so that you can monitor the cross communication attacks in your system. Okay, but these kind of switch based what do you call IDS IPS systems, they evade the cross VM attacks. So one VM may attack on another VM. This is possible. And one fix can be to go with like all IDS, IPS installed in each and every virtual machine. Then they protect themselves whatever the underlying environment it is. So even someone attacks on hypervisor or in any form, still like virtual machines are safe at the end. Okay. Or else, but the disadvantage with this mechanism is that like the complexity increases and all the applications doesn't need such a complex implementation of security algorithms. So one of the alternative solution can be to leave some of the virtual machines without any IDS IPS installed, and others with IDS IPS installed. And you can also have hypervisor like watchdog, security watchdog installed in the hypervisor, like combinations of these things. So obviously, like as the more security incorporated, the complexity increases. But that's a win-win situation that someone has to compromise on, and based on the like customer interest. If the customer is very particular about security, then we need to like consider this particular model. Oh. Sorry for that. Okay. Yeah, there are different ways of attacks possible in your cloud. The most prominent one is the cross VM attack, where one VM may attack on another VM, and there is a flooding attack which actually like floods the traffic into your each VM, like any VM which is weak. As I've shown you in the previous diagram, some of the VMs may not be like adapting any security measures. Then such VM can become a like target for your system and flood that particular VM with a lot of traffic. Then what happens is the entire cloud becomes busy in addressing these particular VM attacks. Okay, so like every weak VM can become the source of flooding attacks, and there is every possibility that the providers may violate the service level agreements, SLAs, or the customers may be violating the service level agreements. So there is a two-way possibility, and we should address these kind of attacks also. And another important one is if data is, lost or manipulated by the administrators or the providers or any intruders, then there is no way that you can verify it, because the control is not there in your hand. The control is there in the administrators and providers' hand. So there is no way that like you can verify that somebody has tricked the data. Okay. And as I mentioned, the Facebook example, like malicious system administrators are always risky, and they may sell your data. They may like play with your data. And another important challenge with the cloud is dishonest competition. This is very interesting one, and like serious problem in your cloud computing domain. So let's say like you asked for a virtual machine with some like a number of cores and some GBs of memory and some like GBs of storage. But what is the guarantee that they are really allocating, because this is a virtualized environment, right? So what are the guarantees that like these service providers are actually providing the numbers what you are seeing on the screen? It is every like highly possible that they may show different numbers, and actually they are providing different resources in your cloud. So this kind of dishonesty is very often and common in your cloud-based systems, and there is no way you can verify this kind of dishonesty in the cloud. And apart from that, because cloud is the source of deploying all your services, and service-oriented architecture highly relies on your DNS architecture. So it's quite common to see DNS attacks in your cloud-based systems. And apart from that, the other routine like attacks like man-in-the-middle attacks and data privacy breach attacks are often seen. And of course, malware injection attacks, the code injection, SQL injection, like these are different types of attacks are very often seen in your cloud-based systems. And like these are a couple of research papers I listed out here. Those who are interested may read these papers. And I have a book published on this exclusive purpose, security and data storage aspects in cloud. And you can also refer to this book for knowing more about the security aspects of it. Since the organizers asked me to take the questions in the end, so I'll take the questions in the end now. So moving forward, let's try to understand how the smart devices and smart criminals are trying to like enter into your environments, how IoT is becoming the source of your attacks. If you see the statistics, US is like multiple times it is way ahead in adopting the IoT systems, particularly the smart home systems, compared to any other country in the world. If you see the Indian statistics, so you see there are a couple of countries who started adopting home automation technologies, and Pune is way ahead, and Delhi follows, Mumbai, Delhi, Hyderabad, and others follow. And IoT is becoming so common in your daily life that one of your mirror, everyday mirror, what you see, right, can be integrated with IoT systems, and it might help you, in your improving your beautification, okay, and accurately finding the problems or whatever you call it, like. So what I'm trying to say is that IoT is entering into your home, and one of your mirror can be one of the source of your IoT system. Apart from what you talk about refrigerators, fans, lights, TVs, and we talk of all these as the IoT systems. But I'm also referring to a mirror. A smart mirror can be there in your home, which might help you in several aspects. And in fact, I say that the smart mirror, is such a massive application, which might soon kill the malls, and you might go with only online shopping, because we go to the shop just because we want to have the trials and all that, and we want to make sure the quality of the cloth and all that. But quality, of course, you cannot ensure, but the sellers or the providers are having the return policies. So if you're not happy with the quality, you can return the product. But of course, otherwise you can give a negative rating, and soon that will go. The product will, or the seller will lose their market. But the most importantly, the size, fittings, and all that, you cannot test it if you are ordering online. But if it is a smart mirror, you can check the fittings and all that through your online, your smart mirror, and you can place the order from your mirror also. Such a great advantage you have with the mirror. So mirror is a very beautiful application, which uses the IoT in the backend. And day by day, your strategy is changing, how you use the resources. So earlier we used to have the remote control to operate the TVs. Now you don't need any remote control. Your hand gestures are sufficient enough to pass on the instructions to your TV. So now just you make hand gestures, then your TV starts understanding your requirements, and it tries to respond to it. But how this is possible? It is possible only when if it is having some camera, right? So it is having some camera. Now imagine you are in a bedroom, and instead of your remote control, you are using your hand gestures to operate your TV, and TV is having camera. Now, most of you must be knowing that your cameras can be tricked by anyone. Your mirrors can be, because mirrors are smart, because they are having some sort of inputs from you, okay, and it is understanding that inputs. And if someone can trick this mirror, if someone can trick this camera, then there is every possibility that the attacker may enter into your bathroom, the attacker may enter into your bedroom, and so on, your hall, entire your home. So the probability of attacks are also increasing because of adapting the IoT into your systems. And I'll tell you how easy for the attackers to attack on these kind of IoT systems. Why IoT systems are weak. Okay, with some interesting example. So let's take a doorbell example where you have a doorbell in your connected to your door, and someone who reaches to your door can be seen from your camera here, and there is a speaker which whatever you are speaking is given to your the person who has arrived, the guest, okay, and it takes the inputs as from your screen, and voice inputs from your not screen, camera, okay, and there is a speaker, it produces the output whatever you are giving, and all that you can see on your mobile device. And from your mobile device you can speak. Suppose your house is locked, no one is there in your house, and you are out of the house, and someone is trying to knock the door, then you get the alarm in your mobile, and from anywhere you can just pass on the message to the guest that, hey guy, I'm not there in my home, just will you please come at 6 o'clock in the evening or something like that, okay. And this creates a lot of convenience and comfortness for the users. But the disadvantage is that when you are out of connection to your, if your mobile device is out of connection, or your doorbell is having some configuration problems or whatever it is, then it gets disconnected. And you know that every time the network gets disconnected, the device tries to ping the other device to check if it is available in the nearby place, okay. So it tries to send de-authentication instruction, and if whenever there is a configuration problem, then it tries to ask you, please reconfigure your system, there is a configuration problem, okay. So this one sends the message to your phone or whatever it is, okay. But here where the problem is, so when it is trying to reconnect using your whenever you are trying to reconfigure, not reconnect, you are trying to reconfigure the IoT systems, something like doorbell kind of systems, which doesn't follow any security measures, they actually communicate with plain text passwords in an XML file format, okay. And if someone can trick this traffic, the configuration traffic during the configuration time, then they can easily get the password of your Wi-Fi system or your any connecting connecting system password openly now. And once you know this password, then that's fine. Like your entire, though it is using like WPA personal password security mechanism for rest of the communication, but during the configuration time, it sends the password in an open like text mode, like plain text mode. So that's a trick, and people can easily like trick the device in such a way that they force the system to enter into configuration mode, and someone like get confused, and they try to reconfigure the system several times, and during that several times of trial, the attacker will try to like capture the traffic, and they try to learn what is the password of that Wi-Fi, for example, system, and they try to enter into your network as if like a rogue IoT system, and they try to maliciously capture remaining traffic that is flowing in your networking system. Okay. So why I quoted this example, because there was a typical hack happened a couple of years back in US, and it was a casino, and in a casino, people come and play for casino games and all that. But for the interesting sake, what the provider has done is they installed a aquarium in the casino, and they connected this aquarium with their desktop system or the computer system, and it used to like learn the health of the fishes, health of the water, and like temperature and all that. It used to analyze using IoT systems, and the data is sent to your desktop system. And if there is any like need for food, change of water, I mean the water is getting heated up, I mean in order to save the fishes, we used IoT as a backend. But that itself is one of the tricks. Someone attacked on this system during configuration time of this particular aquarium, and they try to attack on you on the entire desktop system. They captured the entire desktop system, and they captured the customers' data. They captured the databases. They captured everything from their the backend system, and they also tried to hack a couple of bucks of amount from their accounts, bank accounts, and all that. Like such a small source that led to a very huge attack in the IoT systems. And this is a very popular one at that time, and like that, the attacks may happen across several factors. As much as you incorporate IoT into your home, then the possibilities of attacks will also substantially increase. Okay. So that's why one has to be very cautious about these kind of attacks. And we talked about only typical example of smart home environment. Now imagine like we are trying to adapt IoT systems into the industries, into the finance sectors, particularly small and medium scale businesses. We are also trying to adapt into the we have already adapted a lot of into healthcare systems, agriculture systems, and we are also talking about smart cars, right? Automated cars, like entire transportation is getting upgraded with IoT systems. And we talk of smart cities, city management, like what waste management, water management, light management, power grids. And if someone tricks one power grid, then entire city is gone. So like if someone tricks the water management grid, then entire water supply to the city is gone. So I mean it might happen across the nation also. So if someone can trick the entire power grid, then there is every possibility that all the power grid may go down and entire nation may become dark. So I mean the chances of attacks and the impact of these attacks is very, very high in your IoT systems, in social, financial, and other aspects. Yeah, there are several types of attacks, particularly the privilege escalation attacks, eavesdropping attacks, brute force password attacks, because these are weak systems. So people can quite easily brute force the systems, and they can easily take the weaknesses of your design of your systems, right? The most of the times IoT systems are weakly designed. There are like several ways of what do you call, several flaws will be there, and the code errors will be there, and configuration errors will be there, and it is very often like attacks happening just because of this privilege escalation kind of attacks, where they exploit the weaknesses in the design and weakness in the configurations, weakness in the implementation of these IoT systems. And eavesdropping, of course, is there everywhere, but like since the IoT systems are wireless based, and most of the times, of course, they can be wired based. There is no necessity that they are essentially wireless based, but most of the time they are wireless based. So eavesdropping is quite easy in your IoT systems. And password cracking, as I told you with a couple of examples, it's quite easy. And brute forcing is also easy, not only like through configurations, but like even just because they don't have high processing capacities. So the passwords stored are with very like what do you call, smaller size passwords, and it's very easy to trick the passwords. And as I mentioned, like you can also inject the malicious nodes, not code. Code injection is one sort of but injection is what you call it as rogue nodes. So they get the configuration like passwords and all that, and they create the similar attack nodes, and they attackers insert like several attacking nodes, the infected nodes in the entire organization, and they try to monitor your business. They act like bots, and these bots will like communicate to the bot master. And it is very common that firmware hijacking may occur, right? Like you must be, you must like, at least you will agree that these are IoT systems are highly connected with hardware components and software components. So you need always updating your software and also the firmware of your hardware. And this is the trick. So people will try to exploit the software components as well as the firmware during the update times. So these are called update attacks, and very often you see update attacks in your cloud computing systems. And of course, denial of service attacks are routine attacks. And yeah, since these IoT systems most of the times are smaller in size and they are openly placed, so very high possibility that someone may physically also tamper these attack and tamper these IoT systems. Okay, and these IoT systems require a new kind of protocols to be implemented, and there are hundreds of protocols available in the market. And these protocols, most of these protocols are protocols doesn't use any security policies. So in our lab, we are working on designing of data protocols for IoT. And one of the paper published will discuss different data protocols IoT systems. And we are also redesigning MQTT protocol in our laboratory, which is having security modules implemented, but it is actually what is called producer-consumer kind of model, where more specifically calling publisher-subscriber model, where it uses brokers in the backend. But the disadvantage of MQTT is that these brokers are, if one of the broker fails, then the entire publisher-subscriber model fails. So we designed it with a distributed broker implementation, but these distributed broker implementations are not having proper security implementations considered. So we are trying to redesign this MQTT protocol in such a way that at the core of the protocol, we are trying to adopt the security aspects at the broker level. what I'm trying to convince you is that there are a lot of scope for research, in every module of your IoT. Attacks are high, research is also high because still it is evolving. Yeah, next important topic to be considered is mobile security. I'll try to close in 4-5 minutes now. And you see that statistics show that Android is the major source of attacks, and compared to any other operating systems, and it is also occupying the market like anything, and above 85% of the market is the market share is due to Android mobiles. So because 85% of the major share is for the Android systems, attackers will always target for the major share side so that they can target majority of the customers. So that's why attackers' focus is also concentrated to your Android systems. So their, of course, primary goal is to have the financial benefit, of course, or identity theft, and the means of attack is the Google Play Store, because most of the apps you install are actually tested by your Google Play Store. There is a tool used by Google Play Store called Bouncer, and that Bouncer will actually is an emulator. It's not the, that means whatever the app you are loading into the Play Store, which actually tests the apps with only emulator. But emulator-based testing doesn't guarantee the evading of all the malware. So the primary source of attacks is your Play Store itself, and secondary source of attacks is attackers. For attackers, it is easy to understand the code of your Android programs, and since it is open source code, so it's quite easy to identify the loopholes, weaknesses of in your code. So this is another source of attacks. For the attackers, it is easy to understand where is the source of weakness. So identifying the vulnerabilities is quite easy here. And next disadvantage of Android systems is that they are easy for infecting, because there are several sources, like you can send the SMSs. Bluetooth is relatively weak, so they can use Bluetooth or any other internet downloads, so any third-party applications or whatever it is. In all the cases, there is a high chance that because they are, another weakness is that they are most of the time these smartphones are touch-based. So knowingly or unknowingly, you may press on some button, and that may lead to some sort of malicious activity. And what are the losses or threats? So at the first hand, it may damage your system, like draining of the battery, disabling the system functions, changing the system configurations, or it may be economical loss, like in the back end, you don't know, but system is idle, the screen is not active, but in the back end, some app is sending continuously SMSs, making the calls, and deleting your data, and you don't know about that, right? And it may be leaking the information like your personal details, identity or account details, or contacts, call logs, or any device related information, and you don't know about that. Or your device may act like a infected machine, and it may be infecting some other machines. So it may act like a bot, or maybe part of its botnet activity due to maybe denial of service attacks or click fraud attacks or any other sort of similar attacks. And people use these kind of mechanisms to misuse, particularly because your photos are stored, your videos are stored. So because of these kind of data leakages, these days we are seeing a lot of cyberbullying and sort of activities very much high in the recent times. So those are the attack concerns for your mobile devices, and in 1 or 2 slides I'll try to close what we are doing in our lab to evade these kind of mechanisms. So there are primarily 3 types of mechanisms: static, dynamic, and hybrid kind of mechanisms available in the literature. And we designed in our laboratory 3 types of models. And in the static models, we designed a graph-based malware detection model. And in the dynamic category, we designed rank-based malware detection and cluster-based encryption malware detection model. And in the hybrid model, it's a combination of both static and dynamic features, uses frequent pattern-based malware detection model. And you all know that the mobile device, like particularly Android mobile, uses permissions to allow any app to use your resources. Like it asks, whenever you are installing a new app, it asks, that app asks for certain permissions. I want to use your camera, I want to use your contacts, I want to use your phone calling. I mean, all the permissions, whatever the permissions are there. So those permissions are asked by your app. So what I'm trying to say is that Android is having a file called manifest file, which actually stores, there are predefined permissions, around like 200 to 230 permissions are there. And your app selects some of those permissions, and it chooses those permissions to access your computing resources. And if you are not confident that this, I mean, you never think as a customer whether this app really requires a particular permission or not. So whenever it is asking for the permission, without thinking, you just keep on pressing yes, yes, yes. So you give permission to that app. And there is every possibility that that app may create like a malicious activity using these permissions, which actually that app might not require at all. So there is a need to analyze in the backend if any app is trying to access those permissions which are not required to it, and which permissions are prominently creating impact on the attacks. Okay, so this research is towards that side, like understanding apps, which permissions are asked by the apps, and how impactful these permissions are in the detection of the malware. The second aspect is the network traffic features. So this is a dynamic implementation. So static implementation cannot recognize any network activity, whereas dynamic detection cannot detect any SMS based attacks. So your hybrid systems, which is a combination of both, can detect both models. Okay. So in the network-based systems, network features are important, and when your device is communicating to other device, then there are different ways in which the thief or the attacker will try to hide and try to attack on your system and communicate through your network. So monitoring the network and packets and understanding the behavior of the thief is also one of the important concerns. So dynamic detection tries to understand that aspects. And of course, this is a combination of both. Okay, so we did some work towards that, and you may refer to these papers for understanding how the dynamic detection, how the static detection are actually done through these several of papers what we have published. Okay, and we have also developed hybrid model, and a couple of papers are published in that. And sometimes what the attackers will do is they'll communicate in the network in an encrypted manner. So the packet may be encrypted form. So even in the encrypted form, we should be able to detect it. And we have a paper on that, how the encrypted malware can be detected. Okay, so that's the mobile related attacks and security. So the fundamental best practices one has to follow is that use complex passwords, beware of public or free Wi-Fi sources, try to avoid as much as possible, and learn everything about your device before you buy it. Maybe your mobile device, maybe your IoT device particularly. Okay, and understand, is there any firmware weaknesses, or is there any software weaknesses it has, and make sure that You update your firmware, you update your software immediately whenever they are available. Avoid linking your accounts and devices. Like most of the times what we do is we store all our Gmail, Facebook and everything in our device. Their passwords are also stored automatically. That's why it is able to automatically open your account. But this kind of linking leads to easy breaches. Suppose if your mobile is lost and someone attacks, then all your passwords are also at stake now. And if your government is supporting, or if you're you are having some insurance providers supporting insurance facility, try to purchase the insurance coverage for the to avoid such identity theft coverage and all that. Okay. And wherever possible, use HTTPS. That way you can protect your systems. So that's all from my end. Thank you so much. I'm open for the questions now.
And participants, those who have the doubts can raise their hand. Ravindra Reddy.
I'm not seeing the screen. Okay, if there are no questions, I'll conclude. Thank you so much for giving the opportunity.
Hello. Sir.
Yeah,
Hello.
any question?
One question.
Yeah.
2 questions, sir.
I'm there.
2 questions.
Yeah, any number of questions. I'm fine.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yes. I'm audible?
Sir, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Sir, Ravinder here, sir.
Hey, hi, Ravinder. Hi. Yeah. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. I'm fine. Very good, sir.
Yeah. Tell me.
First of all, thank you, sir, for making us aware on the various attacks in the cloud security. Just would like to know what would be the first point where we can realize there is an attack, sir. As a user, maybe, what would be the point where there can be, we can realize that there is an attack?
What do you think? See, there are multiple ways. In fact, first thing is that data. If some data breach occurs, I mean, in the cloud, you are saying?
Sir, in the context of data, sir.
I mean, in the cloud, you are saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. See, essentially, the provider, I mean, it depends on who the provider is, what sort of backend system it is and all that. But essentially, if nothing works, the fundamental start to analyze your attack is your log files. Okay. And you should insist the provider to provide the log file of your virtual machines so that you can analyze the log file for any possibility of attacks. I mean, that's why forensics is very important, and you can do some sort of forensics to check in your log file if there is an attack or not. But in general, for the customers, it's very difficult for them to identify the attacks. That is the weakness of all these systems.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Suresh, you can unmute and please ask the question. Unmute yourself. We given the permission. Suresh.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
My name is Suresh. You told that hypervisor. Can you explain once again, sir? Hypervisor.
Hypervisor is a tool to virtualize your real machine into virtual machines.
Okay. Is there any architecture for that one? That means, suppose, for example, when you are considered the computer architecture, the loosely coupling and so many concepts will be there, no? Tightly coupling, this one.
Yes.
In which scenario this one? This is the loosely coupling or the tightly coupling, or which one scenario will? Is it related? Yeah.
It is 100% related. There is no confusion on that. Okay. But the point is that my recommendation is that, like, first you try to, learn how the virtualization actually works in the bottom level. Okay. Like there is a paper by IBM, like way back in 1970s, which started how to create the virtual machines. Okay. So if you can understand the virtual machine architecture, then you will realize how the real machine, virtual machine are different, which is loosely coupled, which is tightly coupled, how the how the functioning of these architectures will really work. When you are talking about architecture, we talk of instruction set architecture, right? ISA.
Yes.
So the ISA is crucial and backend for these systems. So the hypervisor design completely depends on the ISA part of it. For example, in your Java code, you talk about Java virtual machine, right?
Yes, sir.
So how Java virtual machine makes a program platform independent? Why not C and C++ are doing this? Just because they adapt the virtualization at the bottom level, and the virtual machine has its own hypervisor defined, and that hypervisor uses essentially its own ISA, instruction set architecture. So that's why all the programs run independent of the real machine ISA. They use the hypervisor ISA.
That means hypervisor is the software.
Yeah, it's a software.
Software that is based on the loosely coupling.
Correct.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir?
Yeah.
One more question, sir.
Please.
Anantula Jyoti madam is asking, what are the security challenges while in live migration?
That's another interesting and important question. See, these days we have very strong security mechanisms adapted while migrating the virtual machine from one place to the other place, or one VM to the other VM. But definitely the attacks are possible, and the security challenges will be there in live migration for sure, because your all stored parameters, your code, your already network connections, everything you have to you have to virtually move the memory image, storage image, processing image, all the images you have to move to your new virtual machine. And any place someone may attack, in the transit someone may attack, or in the local memory they may attack, and in the new memory location they may attack. Anything is possible. It's possible.
Sir, one more question, sir. Jagadi. Sir, how do we prepare a malware data set? Can you please provide a shorts?
Actually, this is an important question. Unfortunately, malware data, there are no big malware data sets available in the internet, and most of the malware are either paid malwares or restricted malwares, private malwares, and you need to consult the people to provide the malwares. But the question was about preparing. So you have to write the code for yourself. For example, in our laboratory, we designed and developed almost 17 malware apps, mobile apps, which do behave like malware samples. So you have to write the code for them, and you have to create yourself, if it is the mobile-based malware you are talking. And any malware, if you are talking about, if you want to attack on cloud, then you have to think about cloud-related malware and all that. You have to do it yourself. And if you are not doing it, then there are existing datasets available in the internet. Very few are there in internet which are freely available, and they may be of very less advantage for you, because most of the machine learning and other sort of techniques are already applied on those datasets. And you want recent datasets, then you have to consult the people who are already working in this domain and ask them for providing the access to those datasets.
G. Balram, please unmute.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Yeah.
This is Balram, sir, from Anurag University.
Yes, please.
Sir, actually, when we create an application in IoT, so I want to ask you one question, because here a lot of security issues are there. Where exactly we find a security at a device level, network level, and application level. So where exactly we need to work out? Device level, network level, or application level?
I already mentioned that in my presentation. The attack starts from the root, firmware, your software, and your networking. Okay, everywhere, because the IoT devices are weak in the resources, even less, resources than your mobile device. Their processing is weak, their storage is weak, their memory is very, very weak. So, using these resources itself is one of the challenging job, and you have to design the security modules in such a way that they are very, very lightweight, but at the same time, they have the similar functionalities, or they address the security challenges of all kind, and that's really a challenging job for security designers. Everywhere.
At the time, cost is very high, no?
Of course, obviously, it leads to because it's a lightweight model you are designing.
Yeah.
Keeping all the resources in mind, so the algorithm essentially has to be very, very qualitative.
Nowadays, everyone are going for the projects are based on the IoT. That means the cost will be high, no?
So next, see, we are almost like we are trying to see a transformation in our living style slowly, and after 10 years, after 20 years, already we are using almost like on an average 8 sensors per human being. If you see the statistics, by next 4-5 years, the number of sensors per head will increase to 25 or so. So, like, imagine after 10 years and 20 years, what is the situation? Like, so IoT will occupy the entire lifestyle of human beings, and artificial intelligence is going to dominate that, and all the systems will become smart systems. So that's why the design of IoT systems, design of data management mechanisms, and security mechanisms, these three are the pillars for future.
Sure. Thank you.
And
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Kamaraj, please unmute and ask the question.
Hello, sir.
Kamaraj.
Yes, sir. Sir, Dr. Sateesh, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sir, I am from Guntur Vijnana University, sir.
Sir.
Sir, API is accountability in the cloud security?
Actually, like, your voice is like diminishing. Are you talking about API calls? API calls in cloud and their security?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. API is accountability to the particular cloud security? The cloud?
No, actually, like, see, not only API calls. Of course, API calls is the major source. I too agree.
Yes,
API calls is the major source of attacks. But there are many other ways also it's possible, like system level, your system calls, host level, right? But yeah, API calls definitely are the source of attacks. I agree. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope there are no more questions from participants, and the session co-chair, Mr. Hari Prasad, will display the appreciation certificate. Hari, please display the certificate. And now on behalf of Anurag University, we appreciate the speaker, Dr. B. Sateesh Kumar, sir. Now I propose vote of thanks. Thank you, sir, for enlightening us with deep insights in emerging technologies like cloud, mobile, and IoT, and security aspects in like virtual firewall, spot mirror, and hyperjacking, and smart doors. Thank you all the participants for patiently listening. And once again, thank you all. That one more instruction, the attendance link will be shared in the chat box that will be active in 1 hour. Please give the day 1 session 1 attendance. And one more instruction to the participant. The second session will be start at 7 p.m. Please join at 6:55 p.m. Thank you all. And one more, thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. P. Sateesh Kumar, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you all the participants.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. P. Sateesh Kumar, sir, and all the participants. Thank you all. The second session will be at 7 p.m. Please join at 6:55 p.m. Okay. Thank you, Dr. P. Sateesh Kumar, sir, and all the participants for patient listening.